And I think we are now live. Hello everyone and welcome back to another GT7 League race here at Gavra Racing. We're here for round number 7 of Season 8 for the German Grand Prix here at the famous Nurburgring. Not quite the full Nordschleife, but for the GP layout. As you can see, it's a little bit overcast and you might see a couple of grooves on the tyres because it's a wet start to this race. And with the qualifying done and dusted, let's start by going through today's drivers and where they managed to qualify in the 15 minutes qualifying session. On pole position this time, it's Cameron Kaboom, has a clear run in front of him, down and towards the first corner. Alongside him on the front row of the grid is the current championship leader, Bonneville 99, starting second just behind Cameron Kaboom. In third place, we have Toussaint, a strong qualifying from him, puts him on the second row of the grid ahead of one of his championship rivals from a couple of seasons ago. Play Dutchy starts in fourth place. Behind him in fifth is Piero, battling Bonneville for this current championship this season. What can he do from the third row of the grid, starting in P5? And just behind him is Attengren, joining us for today's race. Has made a couple of appearances here and there in GT7, but used to race full-time back in GT Sport. Just behind him in P7 is myself, Natty G, on the left-hand side of the grid, just qualifying in front of Ted MC, who starts in 8th place. But not last, because we have a new driver joining us today, CNR, last but not least, starts P9 for the German Grand Prix, round number 7, where it's going to be a wet start to this race. I hope everyone's ready for some action-packed stuff. I hope you're ready, because I certainly am. Hello everyone joining us in the stream. I hope everyone's having a great day. But without further ado, let's get this race underway. We have 9 drivers here for the German Grand Prix. The lights are already green. It's lights out and away we go for the German Grand Prix. 30 laps and 15 corners make up this circuit. Bonneville with a good start on the inside, already up into the lead of the race with Cameron Kaboom in second. They're 3 wide behind with Dutchy on the inside and Piero trying to swoop it round the outside. Toussaint having a massive snap on the exit of the first corner, but manages to keep the car going in a straight line. Now he's got ahead of Tim up into 6th place there, as Piero lunges one down the inside. I play Dutchy. They're 2 by 2 in the battle for 3rd and 5th place. Cameron Kaboom getting a snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 4. Meanwhile, behind, Piero and Dutchy side by side, going in towards turn 5 in the middle, in the first sector. Dutchy just about, I think, makes contact with Piero, who's off onto the grass. Toussaint capitalises on this opportunity to try and go down the inside of the Frenchman. There appears to be 3 wide in the run down towards the hairpin, with Toussaint on the inside, Piero on the outside. Dutchy trying to find room on the outside of the circuit. Tim following him through. Natty taking a tighter inside line. Toussaint and Dutchy make contact, and Dutchy's off into the gravel and will fall down to the back of the grid in 9th place. A horrendous start from the 5-time world champion. Contact between him and the other champion, who's gone off out the S's, nearly to the centre S's, and will fall down into 7th place. Luckily enough, has avoided any damage. Just to double check, which I haven't done so already. Hopefully you guys can all hear me. We're going to have to start this again. But a disastrous start from Toussaint. Now sees them side by side with CNR down towards the final chicane, turn 13 and 14. Contact between the two. CNR braking a little bit later than Toussaint. He's got off into the runoff strip and then gets reset back to the track. Good evening, Bonneville. And someone else in the chat, I didn't quite spot their name. I've seen the comments come flooding in as we've just about finished the first lap of racing. What's concerning is I've actually got no idea where I've left my phone, so I can't scroll back through the chat. Oh, there it is. Panic's over. Hyde 2030, good evening. No, we race on Fridays at 8 p.m. UK time, 9 o'clock CET. This race was done quite a while ago, and I've only just caught up with the streams. These races are done post-commentary, so this isn't actually live, One Evil's not texting in the chat and winning the German Grand Prix here on lap 2 of 30. We've got, I think, a spinner at the back. No, I thought we had a spin at the back. It's just the cars making their way through turn 3 and 4. Looks like the arrows. But the arrows are quite big on the map in the top right. It just looks like the car was not facing in the right direction. Top 3 fairly close to one another in the early phases of this race. Intermediates on all 9 cars. As Tim's actually made his way up into 4th place after starting down in 6th, I believe. Now he's up into 5th as well. Taking advantage of the poor start from Dutch and Toussaint after their individual incidents and the one they had together just before the Schumacher S's on the exit of turn 7. But meanwhile up front, it's the current championship leader leading his championship rivals in this race. Cameron Caboon and Piero in hot pursuit behind. Tim riding the first curve, and that's actually riding the second. Both in hot pursuit of the top 3 as well, wanting to add a little bit of spice into the mix. Head up into 7th place. He's gained 1 position off the start, and Toussaint dropping all the way down into 8th place after starting, I believe it was 3rd in the end, behind Cameron Caboon and Bon Evil. For any new viewers who are confused as to why the names might not match up with the leaderboard, I tend to call the drivers by their PlayStation name. It's just easier for me. Some drivers have to change their nickname as well. But the big boy is Cameron Caboon. For those of you who may be confused, it looks like a mistake from Tim, who's off into the grass. Let's have a look and see what happened to the fins down on the exit of turn 4. Here on lap 3, as the track begins to dry, not dry enough yet for slicks. Tips the wheel onto the AstroTurf, causing the rear of the car to unsettle. The marshal's rightfully waving the yellow flag as he rejoins the circuit in what looks to be 8th place, now behind Toussaint. Bonnie says never wanted to apply full throttle in these, but had no choice with Cameron and Piero right behind me. Or him, but yeah. As Cameron actually goes purple to the middle sector as the track conditions continue to improve. The rain, well, hasn't actually rained in this race, but the track started wet. So we've had some pre-rain. Bon Evil's gone wide on the exits of turn 10. That will allow Cameron Caboon the opportunity he needs to invent an overtake. I couldn't quite think of the word there. But it's not going to be done into the chicane. Toussaint's got himself up into 6th place ahead of Ted. Gets down into 7th. And it appears that the top 3 are beginning to pull away from the rest of the pack. Here comes Cameron Caboon. He's got a good run through the final corner. Bonneville pulls over to the middle of the circuit. Which way does Cameron go? Left or right? Inside or outside? Let's ride on board with the Brit as he lunges one down inside. Not on this occasion. Nicking his nose as well. Pink pixels taking up more of the screen, with Piero will also be looking to find his way up into the lead of the race. I believe we have someone coming to the pits. That's Ted coming into the pit off of the intermediate. Is this for slicks? It is still very wet in the pit lane, obviously because we've not had cars running in the pit lane. Let's just see as he leaves the pit lane with a 3-second time penalty, off into the grass on soft compound tyres. Let's see how well that might or might not work for Ted MC, trying something different from 8th place. Meanwhile, in the middle, through the middle sector we go. Played actually not only purple by 7/10 per second as the track continues to dry up, but gaining on the car in front, ex-Matty G, in his pursuits to work his way back through the field and close down the gap to the top 3. They're starting to pull away. Toussaint as well will be hoping that he can close down the gap to Dutchy. The season is already done. Maybe I'll join next season. Yes, you should. I was actually going to release an event this evening, but I completely forgot. So stay tuned for an event coming soon. Yeah, the season is already over. This is round 7 of 9. The other 2 rounds have been complete. Yeah, if you're in the Discord, make sure you join our Discord. There will be a couple of events here and there before the start of the season. However, we have some pit stops to talk about. Bonnieval, Piero, Tuesday and Tim all into the pits to get off of the intermediate tyres and put on presumably a dry set. Bonnieval's on the mediums, spins and drifts. Piero also not quite spinning, just drifting. That is a spin, 1 spin, 2 spin. It's a full 720 for Tuesday and a 3-second time penalty to go with it. And there in the background you can see Tim losing it as well on the wet side of the track. Flashback to Fuji last season, where they had a very similar situation with a very dramatic race filled with lots of weather variables. It started wet and dried up, and rained again, then dried up, and then rained again, and finished in the dry. Drivers being caught out by the pit lane then, still being caught out now. Natty has been overtaken by Play Dutchie over the course of this lap. The 3 drivers in the top 3 are yet to make a pit stop, as well as CNR in 6th place. The Swift driver on his debut tonight, seeing what he can do out of these 9 drivers, many of which have won races and championships in a number of different categories and games on Gavra racing. We've got a couple of F1 champions and a couple of GT champions as well. Cameron, Dutchie and Natty all pull into the pit lane off of their intermediate tyres. Let's see if staying out 1 more lap has paid off. It has done. If you're not him, who seems to have dropped it, let's ride on board and see what happens. And an unfortunate accident for Tim. He did to wheel onto the AstroTurf and appeared to have recovered. But then it was the second phase of putting the power down that put him off the track and into the barrier. And it could be a lonely race for him in P9, although we know he has the pace to recover. Meanwhile, look at this. Cameron Kaboom on soft compound tyres takes the lead of the race away from Bonnieval, who maybe pitted 1 lap too soon. Here comes Play Dutchie, who was P5 before the pit stops, now side by side with the old race leader down in towards turn 1, and makes the mistake with the inside line. Bonnie's going to try and fight this one back as best he can. Swoops right round the outside on the medium compound tyres. Dutchie also in the mediums. Cameron Kaboom though has gone soft, as well as X-Natty G, Piero and Tuesday. 2 different strategies with 25 laps to go. It's going to be an interesting end to this race, that's for sure. And just to remind all the viewers as well in the chat, or watching this back on YouTube, the track isn't fully dry yet. You can see in the bottom left the blue grip meter, or the whitish blue grip meter that's going up and down as the drivers go on and offline. You can see the racing line is still fairly damp. Looking a wheel onto the curb, you can see the standing water being thrown up a little bit over the tyres. Some tricky conditions in the early phases of this race. Never an easy one to judge when the track goes from wet to dry. However, Cameron Kaboom has mastered the crossover period by staying out 1 extra lap. Has now taken the lead of this race. Play Dutchie as well has gained places, as has X-Natty G, although he's just been overtaken by Piero as we speak on the exit of turn 14. Piero round the outside. A simple move from him. And sets the fastest lap of the race. I think Piero is setting purple sectors here at the German Grand Prix, but he's still under a little bit of pressure from the car behind. The New Zealand themed Super Formula with the fern on the side, putting pressure on Piero's pink Super Formula with another purple first sector to his name. Dutchie's running wide onto the wet patch. That's not going to do his lap times any favours as he hunts down Bon Evil for second place in this race. You can still see where the wet patches lie on the outside of the circuit, off the racing line, as the drivers make their way through the turn 7 hairpin. Usain now purple to the second sector, but I'd imagine all of these drivers will be going purple as the track continues to dry out. Ted in 7th place, then down to 8th after his spin on his outlap. CNR hasn't quite got the gist of the Nurburgring, it seems. Appears to be a little bit lost down in the first sector of the circuit, but has got going again in the right direction. Oh no, he saved it. Nearly lost it. He's on the wet stuff again. Let's not watch CNR, let's give him a couple of laps to recover. As Cameron Kaboom's recovered well. Hasn't recovered really much from anything, but has taken the lead of the race away from Bon Evil, going through turn 1. Gary's actually got play Dutchy down towards the first corner, but the Dutchman swoops back round the outside with the good old switcheroo and maintains a podium place. Dutchy perhaps struggling on those mediums. I forget that Dutchy and Bon Evil have opted for the medium compound tyres. Are they going to the end of the race, perhaps? Who knows? Did they have enough fuel to go to the end? Did they fuel up under their first pit stop from inters to slicks, which is why the likes of Cameron Kaboom and Piero have caught up, or Cameron Kaboom specifically, has gained so much time. A strategic element of this race that we won't know the answer to until the checkered flag is dropped and the driver across the line in that order. Meanwhile, Dutchy under pressure from Piero, breaks later than the Frenchman. Runs wide onto the wet curb. Doesn't want to be doing that too many times, otherwise one small slip up and the clues in the name might find himself in the barrier. Side by side now, Piero on the left hand side of the circuit, down the inside, late on the brakes, on the soft compound tyres, up into 3rd place and back into the podium positions, and look who's caught up and joining the party. It's the two F1 Premier Series champions, ex-Natty and Kusei 0208, running in 6th place, but on lap 8, now lap 9. The train of 4 cars going in towards turn 1, being led by Piero. Natty going in deep, maybe trying to work a move around the outside of Dutchy. Has a huge step of oversteer on the exit of turn 1, dipping the wheel onto the wet part of the circuit. But I think it's clear that the soft compound tyres are working a lot better than Dutchy's mediums in the early phases of this race. But Dutchy might not need to make another pit stop towards the end of this race, whereas I doubt the drivers on softs will be able to make it. Natty's gone wide onto the wet curb. That's going to allow Toussaint to go for a move, perhaps down towards turn 7. Natty doesn't defend. The door is wide open. Toussaint sends it down the inside. Natty's trying to hold it as best he can round the outside, but he's gone wide and off the track onto the gravel and has dropped down into 6th place. I think he dipped the wheel onto the damp part of the circuit, which is still wet on the outside of turn 7. That demotes him down to 6th and Toussaint up into 5th. And the next attacker to fight Dutchy for 4th place. But meanwhile, up front, Cameron Kaboom working well on those soft compound tyres, sets the new fastest lap of the race, 1:38.5. As the track is near enough bone dry on the racing line, but it's still wet offline. Nothing is a certain guarantee, especially when it comes to making moves offline. That's what's so dangerous about the Nurburgring. Well, the Nurburgring's first corner, you can see the inside is still very wet. Imagine going 2-3 wide in towards the first corner and the poor guy on the inside having to try and brake and slow down on a damp bit of tarmac on slick tyres. That's another factor that these drivers have to include into their racing, especially when overtaking and going for moves, or vice versa, even defending from the car behind. I still haven't checked this, but we're a third of the way through this race, and no one's commented to say that they can't hear anything, or it's a silent stream. So I'm assuming my mic is working fine. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do the last 17 minutes of racing again. You know what, I will just double check. We are, aha, that's perfect. Honestly, he was meant to tell me that we're okay. Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. Lap 11 to 30, as I said, lap 11 to 31, lap 11 to 30. Cameron Caboon in the lead of this race, then Bonnie in second, Pierre in third, Dutchy in fourth, having to defend in 2nd and 5th. We've got Natty in 6th, Ted in 7th, Tim in 8th, out of the top 8. So Sienna has unfortunately disconnected in the first 33% of this race. I've got absolutely no idea what that emoji is, or what Bonnie has just said in the chat. I can't see it from. I haven't got it on. I haven't got Twitch open on my phone. I've just got it coming through on the screen. So I've got absolutely no idea what it was. You get like super chats going and get a little message up. That would terrify me sometimes. Anyway, battle for fourth place between Toussaint and Play Dutchy, the only two crowned GT drivers champions going into this race. The past 7 seasons prior to this one have only been won by 2 drivers, and that's these two in 4th and 5th place. That just goes to show the level of racing from the top 3, especially Cameron, Bonnie and Piero, have all up to their game, I think it's fair to say. Now challenging for the title. Now it says Piero, no, never mind. Cameron Caboon has set the fastest lap of the race on the last lap, which is why it was showing Piero had the fastest lap, because Piero had the fastest lap, but was beaten by Cameron Caboon in the battle for 2nd place. Remember, Bonnie was on medium compound tyres, Piero is on the soft. The whole compound difference might not sound that much, but this is an F1 23 or any other F1 game. There is a big difference in tyre compounds. There's contact between the two, wheel banging going in towards turn 5. Bonnie was been forced perhaps off the track as it looked like it from that camera angle. Not too sure if there was, how much contact there was. I hear lots of wheel spinning, and that's Play Dutchy round, and that's worth looking at a replay for. Right on board with Toussaint to see exactly what happened to the 5-time world champion. Is it contact, or was there a skill issue? Definite skill issue from Play Dutchy, who drops down to 6th place after dropping it on the exit of turn 6. Just in front of Toussaint as well. He had a really good camera angle, a really good view of that one. As Piero passes on Evil down towards turn 5, 6, and continues to go purple even faster than he did on the last lap. However, look at the lead that Cameron Caboon has in this race. I think there's about 14 seconds between him and the car behind. It's been a great start to this race for the Brit. Look at the difference in fuel. I've only just noticed. I'll quickly switch back to Piero, but look at that. Piero's got a lot more fuel in the tank, which means Cameron's going to have a slower pit stop when they come off of those soft compound tyres. Cameron definitely won't be going to the end of this race on those tyres, and the top 6 is still fairly close to each other. Piero in second, going through turn 3, followed by Von Evil, Toussaint in 4th, Natty in 5th. Dutchy recovering in 6th after spinning on turn 6. maybe the medium compound tyres aren't working as well. Nurburgring starts lap 14 of 30 in the lead of this race, setting a new fastest lap to go with it. 1:36.7, that's an improvement from the 1:38.5 that he set on lap number 9. That just goes to show how much the track is still evolving as the track dries up, as the fuel goes down. Sounds like I'm singing a little bit of a song there. There's a bit of a rhythm going to that. Track dries up and fuel goes down. Something. Anyway, this isn't a stream where I write music, it's a stream where I don't know what this stream is really. It's just us sitting around watching 8 cars go round in circles, as some people might say. But it's a lot more to it than that, especially in this race with the different tyre strategies in play, the track evolving as it dries up from the morning rain, perhaps. Let's actually look at the overtake as well. So Gavra, Kaboom and Bon Evil haven't used any, they haven't touched their overtake yet, saving it all for the second half of this race. Pierre has used quite a bit. He does have about 65% of it left. 2 Saints used more than half already, maybe just over 75%, as is Dutchy. Tim around a similar mark as well. Ted with only 25% left in his deployment. And the overtake doesn't recharge over the course of the race. You have a set number of seconds perhaps. It's quite basically like IndyCars push the pass. Once that bar depletes, it does not recharge. Saint now catching up. We've got a car off though in the towards the back of the pack. It's Tim in 7th place. It might drop down to 8th. He's got damage. Let's see what happened to the fin. Oh, it's a big shunt into the barrier, just overcorrected in the exit of 10-11. Head's going to say thank you very much. Goes through on the inside and up into 7th place. Keep an eye on this though. Can Ted keep this, or can Tim fight back despite the damage obtained to the rear of the car? We'll check up on that in a minute, because the gap appears to be dropping between 2 Saints and Bon Evil. Those medium compound tyres aren't working as well for him as he might have hoped for, although might not have to make another pit stop in this race. This race was raced so long ago that I actually cannot remember what the strategies were in play when people pit, if they pitted. Meanwhile, it looks like Ted's just been able to stay ahead of Tim, whose damage has been repaired on those medium compound tyres. Ted is on the softs, so does have the grip advantage on paper. Likewise up front, 2 Saint on the softs, Bon Evil on medium compound tyres, working their way in towards turn 1 for the 16th time here at the German Grand Prix, the Nurburgring. Track that everyone knows and loves. can see there in the background, Natty's not being dropped by these guys, actually purple to the first sector. But despite really overheating those softs through the first sector, is still finding time and keeping up with Toussaint and Bonneville. As Ted comes into the pits here on lap 16 of 30, is this going to be for a set of soft compound type, maybe mediums, to go to the end of the race? But his softs aren't particularly worn. Curious to see what tyres Ted's going onto here. You can see the fuel going up on the left-hand side, and it's another set of soft compound tyres going onto that car. So perhaps Ted's not particularly happy with the last set, opting to go onto another set of softs, which he hopes can see him go to the end of the race. Although I'd have thought could have done a little bit, a couple more laps on that tyre. This is interesting. Toussaint's into the pits from 4th place, chasing down Bonneville. Is this going to be for another set of soft compound tyres as well? It is. Maybe this will trigger a couple of undercuts from the drivers in front. Now I'm interested to know what does Bonneville do here? He knows he's racing Cameron, but he doesn't know he's racing Cameron, if that makes sense. Same with Piero. They look at Cameron and say, oh, he's got a 20-second lead or whatever it is. Let's try and work it out. 26, 27, about 17-second lead. But does have to put in fuel at the next pit stop and stays out for another lap. Piero on the soft compound tyres, does he react to Toussaint, or does he stay out for another lap? He's staying on the left hand side of the circuit. And he's out for another lap. You'd expect Bonneville to stay out on those medium compound tyres. So Toussaint pulling the trigger early, cooling the undercut. Let's see what he can do with his with the pace on those fresh, soft compound tyres. At 18 of 30, nearly 2/3 of the way through this race, and Cameron is your race leader after starting on pole position. Lost the lead before we got to turn 1, but has quickly taken control of the situation. However, it is a big unknown because he has to put in more fuel than the cars behind him, which are about 17-18 seconds behind. Can they make up that time in the pit stop? And Bonnie will make up that time by not making another pit stop. These are questions that will shortly be answered by the drivers as the race goes on. G with a bit of a tank slapper through turn 11, keeps it in a straight line, having a bit of a lonely race currently in P4, ahead of Paydachi in 5th, who can't quite get those mediums working the way he might have wanted them to. Okay, this though, Bonneville starting to use the overtake button. Perhaps, I want to say desperation. That's not the right word to use. Maybe trying to get a move on with it in this race. See what pace he could do on those medium compound tyres. Whilst the likes of Toussaint are going quick on fresh softs in 6th. The car number 27. Oh, Cameron's gone off. The race leader's off on the exit of the penultimate corner, turn 14 through the chicane. Maybe took a bit too much curb, too much speed. I thought it would lag at first, but dipping a couple of wheels onto the grass, and that's going to cost him time to Piero and Bon Evil, the three who appear to be challenging for the race win. Piero in second place, but with 10 laps to go, we'll have to make another pit stop. I don't think those softs are going to make it to the end of the race. Having been on these tyres since about lap 6, I think Bon Evil could take those mediums to the end with the fuel he's got left. Ex-Natty G is into the pits. Wade actually stays out. Remember, Natty was about 4 or 5 seconds perhaps behind Toussaint. Well, Toussaint's going through now down the start-finish straight in towards turn 1, as Natty has just been released in 6th place. See what he can do with 11 laps to go on the fresh red striped soft compound tyre. Toussaint Henfen has been on those tyres for what, 4 or 5 laps now, and picks up a 5/10 penalty for exceeding track limits whilst going purple through the first sector. Cameron Kaboom, the race leader, is into the pits here on lap 20. The start lap 21. Piero follows him in on the soft compound tyres. And now it's a race in the pit lane to see how much fuel Cameron needs more than Piero. This will be a fascinating watch as Bon Evil runs the final corner. Oh, I thought it was going to be a fascinating watch, but Cameron Kaboom's been released before Piero's been served. I thought it was going to be a lot closer than that. Here we go, the battle for the lead of the German Grand Prix is now on. Bon Evil inherits the lead of this race that he won on the opening lap. However, is on worn, medium compound tyres, whereas Cameron Kaboom is on fresh, soft compound tyres, ready to pounce at his next opportunity and take home maximum points from this race. Hasn't quite got the fastest lap just yet, that's both being obtained by Toussaint. Right on board as the sun sets off in the background of the track. There's some grey clouds looming large in the distance. Maybe another push to the end of this race perhaps. It's already rained once today, who says it won't rain again? And look at the grip difference between the two cars. Cameron Kaboom all over the back of Bon Evil going through the final corner. It's only a matter of time, you'd expect, before he gets past. Can Bonnie keep him behind for the next 9 laps? This is like Hamilton trying to keep Verstappen behind on those old hards in Abu Dhabi 21 without the controversy, without the drama. We're going to have drama, you know it. But I don't think Bonnie will be able to defend from Cameron on those tyres. Let's put it that way. Natty's taken the fastest lap of the race in 6th place for 1:35.7. But that fact might have a change for the lead of the race. Coming to you live on lap 22. Someone's had a bit of a wibble wobble. It was an Ex-Natty G. We'll have a... I saw the arrow in the map. What happened here? Whoa! Does well to recover. And no, that's not me congratulating myself, that's me speaking from the third person. Or yes. Anyway. To be fair to Bon Evil, Cameron's not got past just yet. Runs a little bit wide onto the gravel. He actually picked up a time penalty for that. So despite losing time there, Brit has been awarded with a time penalty. So lap 23 of 30 here in the German Grand Prix at the Nurburgring, round 7 of season 8. And the championship leader is the race leader as it stands, but on worn medium tyres, being hunted down by Cameron Gavra on fresh soft compound tyres. Strategy has the fastest lap of the race as it stands, and will be picking up a bonus point in the championship if the race were to finish as it is. And get inside the top 10 to get the point. Just have to finish the race. And we've got 8 drivers left in this race from the starting 9. CNR making a debut tonight, but the Swiss driver couldn't quite make it to the end. Meanwhile, these two have crashed once today already. We've got to change. Oh, I've gone back a lap. They got excited and slipped. Hang on. We'll go from here. Cameron Kaboom is a lot closer to Bon Evil after the Brit. I thought, am I on the right lap? No, I'm on lap 22. Sorry guys, very unprofessional. Anyway, back up to the battle for the lead of the race. Look at the run that Cameron Kaboom has on the race leader, deploying overtake to try and get the move done and complete. Bonnie's put the car in the on the racing line. Cameron's late on the brakes, down the inside, they make contact, Bon Evil's off, has to cut the chicane, and through goes Cameron around the outside and takes the lead of the race from Bon Evil, who drops down into seconds. There you have it. It took Cameron Kaboom 4 laps to make the move, and he made it at the chicane. A little bit of contact in it. Meanwhile, in the battle for 4th place, St. Huntsdown play Dutchy. It's deja vu from the opening laps of this race, as Cameron Kaboom will look now to pull out a gap to Bon Evil, which he's already done quite significantly on those fresh soft compound tyres, and now Bonnie's going to be under pressure from Piero sooner rather than later. You can see there Natty in the background in 6th place, doing his best to close in on the 2 cars in front, Toussaint and Dutchy. They could start to battle a little bit. Toussaint is on wornish softs, but Play Dutchy's on very worn medium compound tyres, and it's a similar situation to what happened out in front. Dutchy and Bonnie both opting to go to the medium compound tyres from the inters. Everyone else has decided to stop and use 2 sets of softs. Look at that from Play Dutchy all over the place. A huge tank flapper in the 3rd sector. Just bringing Toussaint closer and closer as they approach the final chicane. But Toussaint's not quite close enough to make a move on the Dutchman in front. Meanwhile, Piero hunting down Bon Evil and gain some points on him in the championship fight. Just behind them, we've got the 2 GT champions battling it out for 4th place. Going in towards turn 1. 2 Saints stays behind for now. Likewise, Piero not quite close enough to pounce and attack on Born-Evil. You can just see the background there. The orange and black getting passed by the green and black car as 2 Saints finds his way up into 4th place. This time, it's without contact between these two. However, well, there might have been contact actually. Controversy and drama, you love to see it. Let's get a chase cam point of view of what just happened. Well, that seemed like it was all fair, but then 2 Saints lifts off and let Dutchy go back through. That's a very bizarre one, as we've got overtakes happening everywhere. Born-Evil under pressure from Piero. How does Piero find his way up into 2nd place? On the back of Born-Evil, in the run down the hill towards turn 7, on the inside, late on the brakes, and a beautiful move from Piero on those fresh soft compound tyres and up into 2nd place. 1, 2 and 3 in this race are 3, 2 and 1 in the championship. It's a reverse top 3, meaning the championship gets closer. Now Piero is focused on hunting down and closing that gap to Cameron Caboon as Dutchy holds on for 4th place, but can he hold on for 6 more laps? It's looking unlikely. Just thought for 1 second that 2 Saints was going to have a look on the inside. Look who's joining the party. X-Matic G making his way through the final chicane. As 2 Saints goes down the inside and play Dutchy in towards the final corner and makes the move stick on the, I was going to say on the last lap, nearly on the last final corner. But both drivers are using the overtake. Dutchy using it a bit more to get back up into 4th place. 2 Saints darts over to the inside, pokes his bumpering, showing he's interested in getting past. Well defended from Dutchy so far. A little bit of a tap from 2 Saints behind that's slightly unnerved and wobbled Dutchy on the exit of the corner. It started to rain here on lap 26. It stopped immediately though, so we're all fine. Doesn't look like the rain's going to affect the outcome of this race. I just saw it there on the screen for a brief second, a flash of rain passing the circuit. But Dutchy overtaken by 2 Saints. I really just noticed that it's heads on intermediate tyres on a bone dry circuit. I think he thought it was going to rain for slightly more than 2 seconds. But was running in last place anyway, so I guess it's worth the gamble. Dutchy struggling on those mediums. Here comes X-Natty G. The Flying Fern would like to fly his way into the top 5. He started in 6th, is currently in 6th, and has picked up a 5/10 penalty. Through the final chicane. That could be the difference between Natty finishing 5th and 6th. Half a second. Going in towards turn 1 though, sat behind Play Dutchy, who's been a little bit deep. Here comes X-Natty G. Ted on the outside, gets out of the way. Bumper to rear, or front wing to rear wing, going through the first sector. Let's ride on board with X-Natty G as he goes over the curb on the inside. 3, 2, 1. And this is the most disgusting penalty you'll ever see, ever in a million years. I think we ought to all sit back and watch this again. Tell me in the comments, where did I cut the track? I mean, you don't need eyes to see that. If we just bring it back one more time, I promise this will be the last time. I just want to get a beautiful photo for you all to see. Well, clearly not going over the track limits there on the inside. Basically allergic to the apex there, but you get the point. It's a little bit far forward, but that's not all four wheels over the white line. I mean, I'm barely using this part of the circuit. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get back on board with the racing action. But it appears that Dutchy's friends in the FIA have slammed a half-a-second penalty onto me to try and reduce my chances of finishing in 5th place. It's an absolutely disgusting tactic. Dutchy clearly using the winnings he's earned from his 5 titles to pay off the stewards. But besides that, there are still 4 laps to go in this race. And Dutchy's on the V1 medium compound tyres. Matthew's still on fairly fresh softs, nearly contact actually between the two. And Dutchy will have a little bit of breathing space as Natty slows down for a second. Out front, the gap is out 5 seconds between Cameron Kaboom and Pierre in the top 2 in this race. Cameron started from pole position and Pierre started in 3rd. Bon Evil from pole position has dropped down into 3rd place, trying a different strategy to the majority of cars around them. Ted tried a completely different strategy to them all, using the intermediate tyre. Goes back into the pits to quickly change that. Penalty serve, and I think a mistake. If this happens to ex-Natty G, that's cost him 10 seconds to play Dutchy. I would go back and view it, but that would simply be embarrassing. We've been going for 47 minutes. This race really didn't feel that long. It's only 30, Okay, so races this season are between 45 and 50 minutes long, with the addition of this 15-minute qualifying, bringing it up to an hour. But drivers watching in the chat, or potential drivers watching this back on YouTube, this is being streamed on the 7th of November 2023. Keep an eye out for an event dropping in the next couple of days. I'll try and get something organised. At the time of recording, I'm in Wales tomorrow and I'm in karting for the next 2 weeks. 2 consecutive weekends. So try and put something together and we can get back racing again before Christmas. All set for a fresh season in the first month of January in 2024. This is the part of the race where I have to try and extend an outro for 1 minute and 36 seconds because Cameron Kaboom has done an absolute outstanding job today, nailing the strategy. Completely dominated this race, I would say. Hasn't quite led every single lap, got off to a slow start, but since it dried up, got to grips with the track conditions, perfected the strategy. The 2 sets of softs working better than the 1 medium that Bonnie and Dutchy have attempted. It's not gone bad for those two, they're still running 3rd and 5th. But when you put that into context from where they started and how many cars were on the grid, probably not where they wanted to be finishing. But we're on to the final lap of the German Grand Prix. And with the championship still alive, there's a chance going into the final 2 races of the season, with the sprint next time out in Spa, for either of the top 2 in this race put an upset to Bon Evil's lead. As it stands, both will be gaining on the current championship leader. Cameron Kaboom, who started on pole position, is set to win here in the Nurburgring. He's only got a couple more corners to go, but the black, pink and purple car hasn't quite got the fastest lap of the race. I don't think he's too particularly bothered about that. 20 points is better than 1. Although in a championship fight, every point counts, and one of those points will be going to Piero, it seems, unless Tim can put in a faster lap. So the 1:34.9, but round the final corner, for the final time, it's Cameron Kaboom who wins the German Grand Prix and gains valuable points on the championship leaders. Piero in second, with a great race from him, just couldn't quite catch the rapid pace of Cameron Kaboom. Not a great day for the championship leader, but a podium nevertheless. Bon Evil finishing in 3rd place, rounding out the top 3. Toussaint pitted early off the softs. The undercut worked his way up into 4th place. In the end, Dutchy was able to hold off X-Strategy as he finishes in 5th place as Natty crosses the line sideways, backwards and in the wall in 6th place, with Tim on a fastest lap attempt. He's not purple through sector 2. He's purple though through the middle sector. What can Tim do? So Ted's finished in 8th place, practically on fire with the tyre smoke on the exit of the final corner. Can Tim give himself an extra point in the championship and take it away from Piero? He rounds the final corner. What's it going to be? It's 1:35.2. I was really hoping that it would end in a 3. What's it going to be? 35.3. We were so close, but not quite a 34.9. Let's run you through the final grid for today's race, with Ted finishing in 8th place and Tim in 7th. Natty started 6th, finished 6th behind Dutchy in 5th. Toussaint in 4th. In the top 3 are Bon Evil in 3rd, Piero in 2nd, and after starting on pole, it's Cameron Kaboom who is victorious in this race. And I think that is a fairly nice camera shot of the Dunlop Tower in the background, as well as himself beating one of his rivals. Oh yeah, they reduced the shutter speed. Let's see what this looks. It's going to take 15 seconds. Okay, well, let's see what this is. I've not done it before, but I feel like it's going to be one big blur. I don't think it's going to look great for a post-race photo, but we'll do another one afterwards. What does 1-to-1 shutter speed look like? Oh, my headset. Ah, yes. I mean, they've removed the tower. How have they done that? No thanks. Let's not do that again, unless you're doing this at night to get the shots of like the lights. Anyway, there we go. This should be a much better photo. There we go. So there is your race leader, Cameron Kaboom, gaining points in the championship. Thank you everyone so much for watching. As I said earlier, for any drivers watching, there's an event dropping soon. Let me know if there's any particular tracks you want. I've got 2 in mind and I'll just pick one, whichever one I think will be best. But anyway, stay safe everyone. Have a great day whenever, wherever you're watching this. and I'll see you again soon. I've been X90G, and I'll see you guys for round number 8 for the Belgium Grand Prix, where it's also a sprint in the penultimate race of the championship. Goodbye.